Hi, it's TKC. Usually I say seller of stuff, but today is story time with Steve. I gotta say I'm not proud of this. I did it. I take ownership of it. It happened. And after I left Miami and after I got done with 7, 8 years in Atlanta, I became clean and sober in 1980. But these are events that are leading up to it. I already did my Atlanta thing. You can see that in my previous videos. And this is kind of dark. It's kind of what happened. So here we go. This is the other side of Miami. I had a lot of fun in Miami, but here's something that went on in the peripherals. Oh, I knocked the camera, and now it's going to be shown as the highlight of things. Late 60s, drug, sex, rock and roll. Never trust anybody over 30. And that was the era of, tune in, turn on, drop out. Lots of drugs, lots of stuff. It was also the era of the Vietnam War, and that guy is the scary guy that turned that bingo-like thing and pulled out a number, and if that number had your birthday on it, you were in the draft lottery. And I was a college dropout. I was no deferments, no senators that could get me out of it. So I knew I was going to the Army and then Vietnam because we were right in the height of it. So what I did before I got drafted, I went and enlisted. And I had a lot of language in my Catholic school. I had 12 years of Latin, so I was going to be an interpreter. And I said, okay, let's go. So I gave up my apartment, I sold my car, I quit my job, gave most of my stuff away, and I went to the induction center. And there was a car, a picture of a car that I sold, and God, I love that car. I wish I had it today, but all us old guys still say that. And there we are in the induction center. Okay, boys, sign this and get ready, take it down in your underwear, and you're going through a physical. Well, guess what happened? Number 3 station of the physical was blood pressure. And I was a doper, yes, but I was a jock, so I was in pretty good shape. And the guy took my blood pressure and said, sit on that table over there. And I did. And 3 hours later, took my blood pressure again, and he went, young man, are you taking any drugs and alcohol? I said, sir, I partied like hell on the weekend, but no. So he said, come back in 6 months. As it turned out, hereditary stuff. I had high blood pressure, so they weren't going to take me. I had no job, no home, and no car. And there I was in downtown Miami. And a couple weeks later, I called my buddies back up, my drug buddies, and a bunch of us rented one apartment, and we're sitting there smoking hash and listening to Led Zeppelin and doing that every day of the week. And we've been up all night, and it's on a weekend, and I lost the bet or whatever it was. So I was stoned out of my mind, but we all had the munchies, so I had to go get donuts, which took me about an hour, and the place was like 3 blocks away. So I went and got a bunch of donuts, and I drove back to the apartment, and I saw a bunch of guys that looked just like that. And I went, holy crap. And it was a drug bust. And it was my apartment. But I wasn't there. So I slowly backed away in my little $300 VW Bug and just drove away from that place. then I'd been in the hotel business forever. My parents had too, so I got a job at probably the best hotel in Palm Beach, the resort that everybody knows about. And they have room and board and that kind of stuff, like in Dirty Dancing, the movie. So we're all in these dorm-like facilities, and guy says to me, "Hey, can you give me a ride over to West Palm?" And I said, "Sure." So we drove over the bridge to regular West Palm Beach, and we went to a place, I swear it looked just like that. It may even be the place. Old apartments and stuff. And the guy was a bellhop. I didn't know him for 3 days. He's a little older than I was, and he says, lots of girls, lots of drugs, lots of alcohol. And I said, okay, it's a party. And walked in, and I was there 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, guess what happened? I swear this happened within 2 months of the last bust. A bunch of guys came in the door. They were undercover guys, and they had warrants for individuals. And next thing you know, I'm the only guy there. And the cops are grilling me, and they're saying, "Why are you here? Who is you? Why did you get here? What is that? Who do you know?" And I'm going, and I told them, and it was the truth. So I said, okay. And they let me go. And I'm sitting there going, all right, this is getting a little crappy. So I didn't get in any trouble. The bellhop didn't work there anymore, and I went back to work. And then after that season was over, I went back to Miami and rented another apartment that looked kind of like that. It was on the beach. And right next to us was a guy that had worked at the University of Miami and was a chemist. And literally, I don't know how he did it, but I don't know if he made the acid himself or if he got his hands on some friends that did or whatever, but he had acid. And we had taken acid before and enjoyed it most of the time. So I took some acid. One of my roommates took some acid. And the guy that lived next door to us that was the chemist took some acid. It was a rocky ride. It was not the fun trip that we all, grew to know and love and all that stuff. And, you can't stop it. When you get on the ride, it goes till the end and then you stop. So 2 days later, after I'd slept through the whole thing, or got through the whole thing, then slept another 12 hours, woke up, front page of the Miami Herald showed something like this. And it was our neighbor. And he had been in a 60-mile chase up the Florida Turnpike with guns, cops shooting out the tires of his car, and it was a mess. And this guy was strange anyway, but oh my God. And what he said, and this is before the movie, I was on a mission from God. And that was the end of the acid. I don't know if that guy ever came all the way back. I don't know if he lost a lot of mental capacity. I think that's what happened to him in that time. So I said, okay, this is enough. I'm done. I'm done with all these druggies. I'm done with these guys. So I started hanging out with my high school buddies again, who mostly drank alcohol and partied a lot. And, it was a good thing. Party in a good way and all legal and so on and so forth, and going to bars and everything. So about 6 months later, we used to hang out at places like this because they had like quarter drink night. I swear to God, it was back in that time. And you go in there was lots of kids, lots of young people, lots of women, lots of everything. And drug people that I was hanging around with, they didn't go to these places. So it was most of my friends and everything. And there was girls and music and alcohol. And it was fun. So one morning I staggered out about 4 o'clock in the morning and went home. Got up a couple hours later, went to work. And the next night I go back to the same Big Daddy's. and there's all this tape and everything around it. And apparently about 10 minutes after I had left, there was a massive group of people that got involved in some serious stuff. And there was a large fight, and there was guns, and it was a whole bit. And I don't think anybody was killed, but I know there was a lot of people wounded and everything. And I'm going, well, 10 minutes later, and I would have been right in the middle of that. And, you know, I'm thinking, okay, you know, what's I got to do something. I can't do this anymore. So while I was in that dilemma, we used to go to Tony Roma's a lot because they had great food. And this one was, most of my high school buddies had turned out to be either good guys or bad guys. And I was kind of in the middle. And had a lot of cop friends, a lot of guys who went to Vietnam, came back and got in the police department, fire department, that kind of thing. And then we had a lot of the guys who were really over the edge of the system and doing things for, you know, illicit money. And one of the guys that I played ball with had an older brother, and we knew all about his older brother. His older brother was this massive guy, played great football, and was one of these go-go, rah-rah types, and, you know, gonna chew your head off if you say the wrong thing to him. So we all stayed away from this guy's older brother. Well, guess what? The guy comes up to me at Tony Romas, and I'll never forget, it was on a Tuesday night, and he says, "Hey, Steve, how you doing?" And he's all friendly and stuff, and I'm going, "Hey, how you doing? Okay, how's your brother? Yeah, what's going on?" And about 3 seconds later, he starts saying, "You know, I'm trying to," and then he starts talking about, who do I know? Will I get, you know, some, he's looking for some heroin, he's looking for this, he's looking for that. And he says he's got buyers and he needs a supplier and his is, you know, and he's going through all this stuff. And I know he's a cop. And I'm saying, no, dude, I quit. And I had. I said, I don't hang around with those guys anymore. I don't give them a lead there. Now, I'm in Tony Roma's. Everybody sees me talking to this guy. Everybody knows he's an undercover cop. And all the bad guys are going to hear he was over there talking to so-and-so. And God knows what he said. So all of a sudden, I'm kind of not on the A list as far as the bad guys go. That same night, another buddy of mine who was not into drugs, he was into jewelry, and he and his brother had a jewelry business and actually made their own jewelry, which was really different, but it was kind of cool, and they were making money. Oh, he had a little sideline, and he would sell $100 bills for $60. So he knew they weren't any good. And I said, man, I am not interested. And, you know, I ain't got $60 and so on and so forth. So that Tuesday night, I left Tony Roma's and I went home. It was like 2 a.m. And I packed what little stuff I had. And I told my roommates I was out of there. And I didn't look back. That was it. I pretty much lost touch with everybody except 2 guys who are still my buddies today. And that's it. I got my little $300 Volkswagen that I bought. And I drove to Atlanta. So, like I said, my Atlanta story's one of my previous vids. And I just thought I'd throw this out there. Some people wanted to know another story with Steve, so I did it. The next one will be in a much lighter version. If you know me, you'll know I'm a pretty much Kaizen, improve every day, have fun with what I do, and you know, live in a positive atmosphere as opposed to when I was living back then when I was a stupid kid. So that's it for now. See you, bye.